allow me to introduce myself. But before we get to that, let me tell you what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn valuable ways to help you and aid you as a parent, as a single parent, in making sure that your son, and I guess you can use this for your daughters as well, so let's just say your child, not to go down the wrong path. But in particular, we're speaking about teenage boys. Because teenage boys, is very difficult for them to stay away from the streets. There's a lot of influences out there that they think are going to benefit their life. My name is Garry Frazier from In the Mind of Garry. First and foremost, the number one thing you need to listen to and pay attention to is that your son needs a mentor. Number one is mentorship. I'm talking about someone outside of his father. Someone who does not have a relationship with his mother. Someone who is connected in a way he can see value in that relationship or in developing that relationship. Every young man needs to see an older man who is successful in something. Doesn't have to have money, doesn't have to have a lot of stuff, things like that, or material things. He just needs to be successful in his life. House, responsibilities, job, social life, good spirit, things like that. Because if you can provide your son with a mentor or your daughter with a mentor, that is going to make your job as a parent easier. Because now all you have to do is deal with everything else. But you allow the mentor to take away a responsibility from you. And that's the responsibility of no attachment. The mentor just wants to see that child be something special. And that's something that you don't have to worry about. It'll take the edge off of you as a parent. Okay. Number two, second thing is you must communicate with your teenager. And when I say communicate, not bark orders, not communicate as an authoritative person, not communicate like that. I mean, communicate in a way that is authentic, organic, and it comes from your heart. Let them know that even though you want to talk about something, if they're not ready to discuss it, give them a little time. But always leave a conversation with the door open, that you invite them to speak when they're ready. I know it's hard as a parent. Sometimes, that we look at our children and we're like, I need you to say this right now. But today's kids is different. They got a little more frosting on their layered cake. Not so strong. They're a little more sensitive nowadays. So communication is key. The third thing, involvement. Be involved in your children's lives. We don't mean, obviously parents are involved, right? They pay the money, they're there every day, or they come and get them for something, to take them to lunch or something like that. They talk to them, boom. Not talking about that involvement. I'm talking about being involved in their inner person, their inner child. Find out what it is that your teenager loves, what their passion is, and then engulf yourself with them in their passion. Meaning take time out of your busy schedule to research what it is that they like, for instance, like artwork or cooking or sports, and do that with them. Show them that you support whatever it is, whoever they are on the inside. That gives them the assurance that, oh, I don't need to go to the streets to be accepted. I'm accepted in my home. So let me stay here where it's comfortable instead of going out there to look for something that I already have. Fourth thing, friends and freedom. There's a balance between being a friend and being a parent. But as a parent, you have to do things in an orderly fashion, in an organized fashion. As a friend, you just got to be open to letting them know that you can be trusted, right? So that means giving them certain freedoms that isn't outside of hurting themselves or taking away from their education, but give them certain freedoms to let them know that, hey, here's a bubble for you to expand your growth, for you to mature in, right? That's the freedoms I'm talking about. For example, maybe it's, on the weekends, letting them stay up a little longer than you would normally let them stay up, and then take it away on the back end for something else. So it's a give and take, friends and freedom, okay? Number 5, be attentive. Listen to them. You don't have to do anything, but you have to listen. Sometimes, so being a parent, a single parent, is like being a business manager, a manager of employees. Your children are your team. So you have to empower them to feel like they are a part of the business. The family is the business. So be attentive to them. Ask them what they think. Ask them for their opinions. They will respect you for that. Even if you don't do what they say, actually, you'd be very surprised. These kids nowadays, they smart. And I'm talking about teenagers. They know way more than we do. We could probably learn from them, honestly. So be attentive to your teenage boys, okay? Let them know. You can come to me with anything. Let's do something together. What's your ideas? I believe that you're intelligent. And this is how I'm gonna prove it to you. I'm gonna listen to you. Sexuality. I think this is number 6. Boys, girls, whatever they're into, be into it with them. Teach them, guide them through those emotions that they're having when they go to school and they like somebody. You know when your teenage child likes somebody or is interested in somebody, their behaviors change, right? They start talking on the phone a little bit more. They dress a little bit different. They start becoming interested in things that they weren't interested in before. Find out what their sexuality is and support that. Whether you like it or not. Give them the space to figure out who they really are sexually and support that. Right? Because if you don't, they're going to be shaped by the outside influence, and those streets are harsh. Those streets aren't as kind as parents. All right? Number 7. Notice their growth. Acknowledge their growth. Notice when they're growing up. Notice when they're maturing. Notice when their body's changing for the better. Notice when they're going through puberty. Notice when their attitude is changing. And acknowledge it. Don't be scared to speak on it. Let them know. Say, hey, son, see, you got a little beard growing there. What you want to and then talk about it. You want to grow it out, you want to cut it, you want to put some designs in it, Acknowledge that you notice them growing up, that you notice them maturing, you notice the changes in their body. That way they don't have to feel like they're going through it themselves, number 1, and they don't have to feel like they have to hide anything, because we have to let our kids know, you're not new. You're not a new human being. We all go through maturity in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits. Shit, I'm still maturing right now. So that don't never stop. And last but not least, choices. Allow them to make choices that are independent of yours. Make sure that you find a way as a parent to allow your teenager to make choices of their own without necessarily giving in to them, right? Teenagers think that they're grown. We all did it. We all thought we was grown, older than we were. We was trying to rush to get out the house or be adults. But it's easy to cut down or put a teenager in their place if you allow them to talk themselves. Sometimes you'll find out that they will realize, well, what I just said, that doesn't make sense. So if you give them the option of making their own choice, and then you come back with them and say, but what about if this happens? And you go deeper and deeper, peel back layers, and make them think about what they said, what they're choosing to do, how there's a ramification, what the consequences are down the line, 5 years, 3 years, 5 years. Sometimes you'll find out they'll come right back to what you thought in the first place. They did all the work for you. So those are ways that you can keep your teenagers off the streets, keep them out of the streets, keep them from looking for the streets. And with that being said, I want to thank you for listening to the whole video. I hope that something in here helped you. I hope that something I said triggered something in you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a blessed day and go be a great parent.